Welcome back to another episode of Hoop Sense. I'm Trey Edwards.
And I'm Mike Zakarian, and we're back, man.
We're back. It's a new year, more hoops, more sense.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting deeper into the season now. I feel like we're getting some trades. We're getting some drama a little bit.
Yeah.
We're at a good part of the season.
You know my motto. The season doesn't start until after Christmas games.
That's right.
Or trade deadline.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some trades. Some trades happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I wanted to shout out. We're going to do a shout out right now. Jalen Williams, he says, I think there should be 2 Defensive Player of the Years. How do you feel about that?
I think Jalen Williams is seeing what's happening in San Antonio, and he's looking at Victor Wembanyama, and he's like, it would be cool if someone else could win Defensive Player of the Year over the next 10 years because Wemby might have that on lock. I like that. I really do. I think that just because I remember when Marcus Smart won it a couple years ago, and then everybody got mad about that because they were like, he's not really the Defensive Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like that idea of having a big one and a small one. And maybe that's my 5'7" energy speaking up a little bit, but I kind of like it. What about you?
I think it depends on the league, to be honest. Like, right, when we think about the favorites and how the swing of it, right? Do you want to reward a guard that is aggressively defending really well, right? And we have those favorites, right? The Thompson twin playing extremely well, and then you got other guards and perimeter players that are defending really well, right? But then there's the big man, right? And Rudy Gobert, he made a living off of this. And people are like, he can't even guard on the perimeter. So I think we're picking and choosing when we want someone to win, or there's an exhaustion there. But like the NFL, they have offensive players of the year, and then they have an MVP, they have a defensive player of the year, and then they have certain things. So cool idea for a perimeter defensive player of the year, and then a big defensive player of the year. Something to think on, but let's not rewrite history and pretend like these things don't happen. If you want to be a perimeter player that wins defensive player of the year, show us.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I guess the counter could be they have all defensive teams, right? So it's like, okay, maybe you're still getting recognized for the defensive prowess you're bringing to the court, but you're not Wemby because I mean, but
also here's the thing: in order to get to Wemby, you have to beat the perimeter guy.
That's right.
So if you are an island out there, a one-man island, and no one can stop you, I mean, well, you can stop everybody that comes in your way. Not no one can stop you because that sounds like offense. Right. But if you can stop everybody that's in front of you, then we won't have that problem of talking about a big.
Yeah, it's a great point.
We got Gary Payton. We got the Marcus Smarts of the world. Who else? Michael Cooper. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I mean, literally everybody on
Michael Jordan.
The OKC Thunder, like the entire roster.
Yes.
Of like the Lou Dort, Caruso, Wallace, J-Dub himself.
Yeah.
Like they go
But it has to be consistent.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think one player is committed to that outside of Wemby this season.
Yeah, I can't think of a player where like entire game plans have to shift because they're out there. And that is what Wemby is. Like you see people kind of freaking out.
But to be fair, just because you're 7 feet does not mean that's an automatic block.
Oh, absolutely. No. That's not just his size that's doing it. I mean,
but someone would say, hey, he's 7'4". It's timing. It is knowing how to use your body because you can get in foul trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a skill to that of being quote unquote big and blocking shots.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. Moving right along. Our guy. Well, he's your guy now too. Jamal Crawford officially signs with NBC Sports.
Dude, I love this. Well, I'm just like ready for some fresh new voices too. And Jamal Crawford got a little bit of a taste of it over the last couple of years. He does really good in the booth and in studio. So I'm pumped for this. I can't wait.
He is a guy that gets it. You know what I mean? I finally got him off the BlackBerry, got him to leave the house. He did some stuff with Turner, did exceptionally well. The people really loved him. He did some stuff with Clipper Vision, and now he's found a home with NBC. Back to the original. All we need is the round ball rock, and then it's good to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Again, I know we didn't even have this on the list, but Amazon announcing their studio
Taylor
show.
Rooks, Dirk Nowitzki, Blake Griffin.
And I'm excited for that.
That's a fun cast.
That cast is great. And I'm like, I was waiting. What is Blake going to do next?
Yeah.
Mr. Just for Laughs, Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's got a spot. I'm excited for that a lot.
I think he has a chance to really swing big on this one because it's humor, and I'm interested to see what his commentary is like. you know, they got a chance to be, you know, and I feel like Taylor has a good balance with that.
Yeah.
She's been a professional in this league for a while. Glad to see her win.
Yeah, it's and just like, again, fresh voices, fresh faces. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. I got a question. You being a Celtics fan, is Jason Tatum soft?
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I wonder when I saw that Brandon Williams,
Jennings.
Brandon Jennings, excuse me, Brandon Williams of the Dallas Mavericks, Brandon Jennings. I saw that going around, and as I was seeing that, I was like, oh, that's the opposite of what we do on this show.
Yeah.
Come on. And also, Tatum, you don't need to do Instagram posts for it either. You know what you can do?
That's what the kids do.
I know. You know what you could also do? Not lose to the Toronto Raptors like they did last night.
Toronto's nightlife is undefeated.
Yeah, seriously.
But in the States, they are 1-19 on the road.
What? Oh, Toronto?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. I did not know
Right?
that. That's a crazy
stat. You know what I mean?
did not know
1-19. I could not believe that. The last 20 games on the road, they
That's
only
wild.
won one game.
I did not see
Yeah.
that. I did
Pretty
not
crazy.
see that. What's your take on that? On like the Tatum?
Well, I also was just going to highlight Charles Barkley made a comment about Devin Booker being too nice. And
Yeah.
these is basically why these two aren't as successful as they should be. I don't agree, right? The same way there's a segment on Gil's Arena, right? Kenyon Martin says about California basketball players. I'm from California, and he says that we are soft. Now, that is a stereotype that I do not agree with. I think that we are finesse basketball players. Jason Tatum is a finesse basketball player.
Sure.
You don't have that does not equate in a basketball argument. You know what I mean? That is a personal take or a dig at that person because he's, you know, again, he has brands. He's trying to be marketable. And sure, he might not talk. You might not physically look at him as he's talking trash. He's out there talking trash. He's out there playing mean. He's doing what he does.
Yeah.
He got some nice dunks, some aggressive dunks under his belt. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, he is doing whatever is asked for him as the best player, whether he won Finals MVP or Conference and Finals MVP or not. He's doing everything that's asked of the defending champions right now. So like the idea to call him soft, so what are we doing? Like we're just, they are at the top of the mountain, so we're just going to throw sticks at him right now. And the Devin Booker thing too, maybe he is too nice or maybe they
But
haven't
what does
been,
that have to do with basketball?
It's got nothing. And,
you get what I'm saying?
Yo, absolutely.
Like I never took Tim Duncan as a mean guy.
No.
And he's pretty successful.
Oh, it's because they're not winning. I think if the Suns were winning games right now,
But they also went to the finals. He's also a consecutive all-star.
Sure.
So my thing is like, are we just nitpicking at this point to say, I personally don't like you?
Yeah.
These players just look nice.
Yeah,
I know Devin. I covered Devin like maybe year 3 and year 4 of his career. Great guy. Just because he doesn't want to rip your head off or get into a couple fights or however it is. I don't know what else he has to do to earn his respect of his peers.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the soft and the nice guy thing has zero to do with basketball.
Yeah, I think it's just people wanting to talk and
It's
get
just talking
clicks.
points.
Yeah.
It's talking points. I understand. Shout outs to the other shows that works for them.
Sure.
But not here.
No, I think I think if the Suns were successful this season, and there's still a lot of time left in the season, but I think if they were successful this season, the conversation might be a little bit different. But it's because they are struggling right now. So let's poke the bear a little bit. The Tatum thing, I don't understand. I think we said this earlier. If Tatum was a little bit more, and he doesn't need to be, but if he was a little bit more like marketable or cool, I feel like the conversation would be a little bit different.
I think he's cool. I think at the end of the day, he's just playing it safe.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, do you want to be fined? Do you want to lose your endorsements? Do you really want to be a jerk playing for the Boston Celtics? Nobody likes y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I know.
Y'all win all the time. Y'all end up with a great player. Why add fuel to the fire?
Yeah, I don't know.
He might be my favorite Celtic I've liked since Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker in a very long time that I enjoy watching them play.
My favorite thing about Jason Tatum is he does whatever is required in that moment.
Yeah.
Like he knows.
A true leader.
Yeah, absolutely. And sure, he's not, maybe
he's 27.
It's crazy. And it's crazy how successful he's been for how long he's been. Like, he's actually gotten dinged for being so successful at a young age because they're like, oh, can't get over the hump. We're like, dude, the dude was like 25 at the time going to the Eastern Conference Finals every single year.
All right, enough Boston.
I know, sorry, I'm getting excited. I'm going to start dropping my R's
Making
here.
my stomach hurt. I got to go to Boston this weekend. I love Boston, but we doing too much glazing right now.
Yeah.
All right, we have a trade,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Suns get Nick Richards and a second-round pick. Josh Okogie goes to Charlotte Hornets with 3 second-round picks. How do you feel about this for the Suns?
For the Suns, I feel like this is a perfect example of what the Phoenix Suns season is so far.
Okay.
That we're like, oh, this is huge that the Suns got Nick Richards.
Okay.
And Nick Richards is fine.
That's a lot of pressure to say huge.
Well, but this is how bad they are at the 5 right now, where Yusuf Nurkic is no longer involved in team activities right now. We're requiring a lot of Plumlee, who is 35. Did not know Plumlee was 35.
He's getting up there.
Yeah. And so for Nick Richards to come in, they're like, oh, finally we got a center. And like, no disrespect to Nick Richards, I think he's a really good backup center.
He's going to start.
I know, but what I'm saying is I think he would be a really good backup center.
He's an upgrade for what they have right now.
Right.
It seems like Nurkic is out of the rotation, got a couple of DMPs. He's dealing with an illness. I know how that works, but we'll see. Hopefully someone takes the bullet and wants to actually take on that contract or whatnot. I like Nurkic, but like at the end of the day, it's not working out in Phoenix. So,
and I mean, they're like, if you look at their last 2 games, I believe it was against the Atlanta Hawks, where the bench center Onyeka Okongwu comes out the game, comes in the game and drops a 20-20 on him. And then the game before that,
Big O.
Oh, I love Okongwu. And then Mark Williamson, Charlotte, the game before, had another like monster first half where he put up like 22 and 14. So they are so desperate for like any sort of depth at the big man. But I mean, do you think that this is gonna like move the needle for Phoenix?
No, I think it's just a start. I think that they still need to they don't have to shake up too much. Like, I know people are working the trade machine and trying to get Jimmy Butler there and all those things. I mean, even people pushed that Bud and for benching Bradley Beal and not benching him but bringing him off the bench as a 6th man. It worked out. They actually had some wins in that positive direction, but then also Bill got hurt. So he's kind of questionable for the next game. But I don't know. I think they just have to try everything. But having Nurkic, being able to move Okogie, and then potentially making one more move may help them, make a push.
Yeah. I still think if they can get healthy, like if KD and Book can play just a long stretch of games. And the West is weird because we're like, oh my gosh, there's so much depth. It's so competitive. But even though they are like in the 11 or 12 seed, right? Or 10 or 11 seed right now.
They could easily be in the mix.
Yeah, they go 8-2 in their next 10, and all of a sudden they're like in the 7 seed. So it feels worse than it is, I think. Yeah. But they definitely got to address some of those issues.
As Devin Booker said, the vibes are bad and they need to shake it up.
Yep.
All right, team of the week. You have the Sacramento Kings. They won 7 straight before taking the loss. Tell me more.
I was so impressed with them. Like, they got a couple wins in that stretch where like stars were missing from the other teams, and then they went into Boston and Sabonis grabbed 28 boards in that game against them. And they just seem to be playing. They even won some of those games without Fox too. Like, he missed some time. Monk's been playing really well. DeRozan actually starting to look a little more comfortable in their offense. I still don't know like how real any of this is, but at least, we rewind the clock 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, it looked bad. And I don't know.
I didn't agree with the firing.
Me neither.
Minute, but it seems like the players responded to it.
Yeah.
And the vibes are really good. I don't know what Mike Brown did, but they're moving in the right direction for Doug Christie.
Yeah. And I would not have, if you told me to like forecast what the next couple of weeks were, I was not going to guess like a 7-game win streak. Again, going into Boston, winning that game was like really impressive. So I don't know. Again, I don't know where we're going.
Doug Christie made a great point. He said, basketball is a team sport. And in order to play the best guys, you have to play as a team. And that's how they've been showing up and how they've been preparing for games. And that works.
Yeah.
So kudos to Doug Christie and his staff. And kudos to the Sacramento Kings turning it around.
There we go. They're lighting the beam again.
There you go. Indiana Pacers.
Dude, we got 2 weeks in a row, Indiana Pacers. So, and you gave me some guff last time when we put the Pacers on here. It was like, maybe it's a little too soon.
Yep.
They're now 7-3 in their last 10.
Okay.
They went in split home and home with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Halliburton actually found his game too, but he had hamstring injury. So hopefully he can nurse that back to how it's supposed to be. But I'm glad that he's out of the funk that he was in at the start of the season.
Yeah, and it seems like they're defending, which is not a thing we said about an Indiana team in a long time. I think in that game where they beat Cleveland, they held them to 90 points, and I can't remember
That
the
was
last.
such a weird game.
It was a weird one. The shots weren't falling too. That was
Sure.
part of it.
But I'm not even going to discredit Indiana. I thought Indiana just played well and moved the ball and made the shots that they were supposed to make.
Yeah, and one of the things we were talking about earlier is like the vibes just felt a little weird in Indiana. And I think when a team, win or lose, if a team is like defending hard, that makes me think the vibes are better because you need to like care about what's happening when you defend.
Absolutely.
So I think this is like projecting or, on a good trajectory. And I don't know, I feel like the East is kind of like getting sneaky deep now. I think we were all kind of pooing on them for a little bit.
NBA is deep.
So deep. Yeah, the talent-wise.
As much as we complain about viewership and all that other stuff, teams are winning at any given night. You know what I mean? Like, you could beat the best team and you could beat the worst team.
Especially if you're on the road in Toronto, as we learned.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, I'm all for the game. I've been watching all these teams play. Kudos to the Indiana Pacers turning it around and making basketball bearable in the state of Indiana. All right, next man up, Malik Beasley. He has an amazing celebration right now. He does like the little,
I know.
this little thing. Like I'm all for it.
I saw
joking with Wilson Chandler about that. That's his rook.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. I saw Malik Beasley had Worldwide Wob in his feelings. I don't know if you saw that video going around. He was struggling with that wiggle.
Okay.
But yeah, man, Beasley, Ivy goes down on one of the grossest injuries and also we learned like it sounds like Ivy might be back by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Which is, that's great because when you saw that happen.
When you're young,
yeah,
get to sleep.
Yeah.
You might recover like Wolverine.
I was gonna say, I'd be out for 3 to 5 years if that's something like that happened. But Beasley, like all of a sudden in the starting lineup, and he likes to shoot. Like whether it's going in or not, he's comfortable getting it up. He's averaging 16 points over this like stretch here.
Last 10.
Yeah, and Detroit, like
they turned it around.
Right?
They turned it around. We started off the positive vibes. I think people got to give us credit. We were the first ones that be like, it's looking good.
Yeah.
And we apologize. Well, I apologize to JB. I was joking about his rules, but that stuff matters. So hopefully maybe some other coaches, do a culture reset and turn their organization around as well.
Yeah. But I used to give Beasley a hard time, like when he was in Milwaukee. It didn't seem to be like he could find the right fit. And in Detroit, like I think he's taking on this like vet role with them. And they're a fun team, man. That's like an A+ league pass team is Detroit.
I have here Huss Westside, a.k.a. Russell Westbrook, as a starter, 15.4 points, 7.4 rebounds, 8.2 assists, and 1.6 steals. Russ has been very good for the Nuggets. Him and Jokic are a great combo that I did not see coming, but also Jokic requested him. They got him. And then also a great stat that one of the reporters had. I don't know if it was Singer or one of the guys over there in the Denver media, but Russ Westbrook's win percentage when he gets a triple-double is 74%, and Jokic is 79%.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
And what that's happened twice this year where they both have gotten triple doubles in the same game. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Like I can't remember Jokic having any vocal moments of being like, I want this guy or something like that. So it was really cool. Also, when it's been like 3 or 4 years since Russ has been appreciated on the team that he's been on, and that has just been fun. Like he looks happy, he looks comfortable, and Russ is just like one of the most enjoyable guys to watch play ball when he is in a situation that he wants to be in and that the people want him to be there, And it'll be interesting now because they were without Aaron Gordon for a little while, and that's kind of why he like bolted into the starting lineup. Yep. He's playing so damn well. I don't even know how you take him out of the starting lineup. And so I'll be curious to see how Michael Malone handles it.
I think he's going to be taken out of the lineup, but slowly but surely. And his minutes will increase, and they'll still use him because he's a pro. He gets it. He didn't complain coming off the bench. He understands how good this team is and what he can add and just continue to prove his confidence is there. But you said, like, as far as people not wanting him on the team, it was only the LA teams.
Where
he's from.
Crazy.
Crazy. Everybody else loved Russ. You get what I'm saying?
And he was I know, like, with the Lakers, it ended a little weird, but with the Clippers, consummate professional the whole time, right? Like, he was...
And it still wasn't bad. No. I just think that, again, how they were used, it just didn't mesh well. You get what I'm saying? So... I have here also from Detroit. Detroit's getting a lot of love.
Love it.
Ron Holland, 7.4 points, 59 field goal percentage, 41 from the three, 79 from free throw, and 15 minutes per game since December.
Yeah.
He's seventh on the no, not seventh. He's a little lower on the rookie ladder, but he's making an impact in that direction of them moving up.
Well, and not too much is being asked, right? Like
Yeah.
he comes in, fills in the role nicely, defends at a high level. Again, man, yeah, Detroit's fun. Detroit's fun.
Yeah, I had a chat with future guest Jamerson, my guy from Detroit, and he was just saying, "Hey, we need one more guy to sign there." And I'm like, "Don't think of trying to sign a major guy. Think about trying to get a Norman Powell. Think about trying to
Yep.
get, the guys that are contributing, you know what I mean, to
Yeah.
this team to add some veteran and stuff." I said a lot of people like to dump on Tobias Harris, but he's been great in that role as a veteran in that locker room, and the same for Malik Beasley.
Also, there's no reason to like hit the fast forward button.
Yeah.
You know, like figure out what you have right now.
And they're overachieving, I feel.
Absolutely.
They're ahead of the schedule.
If they just got into the play-in game, that's a huge W. This is the first time we've been talking about Detroit in the new year.
Yeah.
That's not about like, oh, I wonder what lottery pick they get.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, they're actually competing.
Yeah.
And lastly, on the next man up, Tristan Silva.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? De Silva. So 8.8 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 6 in the rookie ladder. Paolo was down, and then Wagner was down, and we had the next man up as far as him stepping in and starting and doing what he had to do. Obviously, he had an illness the other day, but Orlando still doing what they're supposed to do. I'm very proud to be an Orlando Magic fan right now. They just keep showing up. Cole Anthony had a big game the other day. Just really thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like they're just playing extremely well, having people come in and do what they need to do.
Mhm.
Again, I'll talk about them during the Trey's Magic Minute, but wanted to shout out Tristan because he needs to be discussed.
That whole team is next man up.
Yeah.
They really, because like De Silva went down and then Anthony Black popped up. Jonathan Isaac jumped in. Like the whole Orlando Magic is a next man up team.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So the hot hand, Jamal Murray.
45 points the other night. 45 points. And you know what's kind of funny with Denver? I know we were just giving Russ some love too. It feels like, and I don't know if it's like the national conversation around Denver, but it feels like the Nuggets aren't having like a great year. And maybe it's because we saw them be the 1 seed or technically the 3 seed last year, win a title, whatever. They're playing really well. Like considering they got off to that slow start, they're in the 4 seed right now. They're just, and if Jamal is slowly but surely getting back to Jamal form, I just think Denver's going to be, I think we're not taking them seriously enough as we get closer to a playoff push.
I don't think that they're not being taken seriously. I just think that a lot of teams are playing well.
Sure.
And also, people are just tired of talking about the Nuggets being good. Obviously, they won a ring.
Mhm.
They got 1 ring. But, most people thought like after losing to Minnesota that they would go down or, this and that, or that the Russ Westbrook, pickup was going to make them go backwards. And it's keeping them even keel. And I think that also relieves Jamal Murray just in case he needs a break or he gets injured again and they have Russ to slide in and play that point guard position.
It is. I think like their ceiling depends on Jamal Murray,
Yes.
and like it's good to see again like stringing together a couple of weeks now of like some better basketball from him because he's like historically a slow starter, and now that we're into the new year. So, but that 45-point performance, I actually love Michael Malone left him in there probably a little bit longer than he normally would have because the game was getting out of hand. He's like, can we get him to 50?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you gotta love a coach that's rooting for you and allowing you to get your your groove on out there and find it because that carries over and it just makes you feel good.
play for that guy.
Yeah, overall. I'm in Thompson.
Dude, how much of the Rockets have you been watching?
Oh, I mean, I love Jalen Green.
Dude,
Shouts to Mike Hill and them too. But
yeah, that team is just so fun. And what I love about Amon Thompson, and I'm sure we're going to learn this about Asar Thompson as well. If Fred VanVleet is out, Amon Thompson's going to take his spot in the starting lineup. If Jalen Green's out, Amon Thompson. If Şengün's out, Amon Thompson. Like, no matter who misses, like right now it's Jabari Smith who's out, Amon Thompson can step in. He can defend 1 through 5.
Paul George needs to take some notes.
Oh, Paul George take some notes from a lot of different people, I think, right now.
Okay.
But Amon Thompson's like averaging a double-double, I believe, over the last 10 games. Like, he is doing it all. And it's not like he's shooting 40% from 3 and you're like, no one's yelling shooter when he gets the ball in the corner. But they do have to close out and defend because he's knocking down 1 out of every 3 or so. So I love, he's probably my favorite player to watch right
Averaging 14 and 10 the last 10 games, playing 1 through 5, wherever he wants him to be. Mike Smith, Jalen Green's former trainer, now a business partner, shouted out that iron sharpens iron.
Mhm.
And I feel like Amin Thompson made Jalen Green take his game to another level.
There's a great piece on the Athletic about Jalen Green
Mhm.
this week, or about Houston in general, and just like how, and I think Jalen Green himself said, like, the difference between him and like his streakiness from last year to this year. So last year he would like float in between possession. If the shot wasn't falling, he kind of like checks out a little bit. And this season that has not been the case. And I think you're absolutely right. Like playing alongside somebody like Amin Thompson, you
Yep.
see how he tries. And I mean, Houston has built this entire roster of dudes that try on defense, and
Yeah.
that's what's making them so tough. And they're going to be a fun playoff team.
I mean, the Rockets are 7-3 in their last 10. So, well done, Coach Ime.
Yeah,
You're,
seriously.
you're doing what you're supposed to do, but we didn't expect less on that.
No.
Trey Murphy the third.
Did you see game-winning block last night against Dallas? Although I think the refs in their Twitter account tweeting out the last 2-minute report was like, should have been a goaltending. Well, you know, it should have been, could have been, but it was game-winning block.
Hey, it is what it is. But he is having one of those surges like Mikal Bridges had with the Nets. You know what I mean? Where you have to keep an eye on it. He's another guy that I would love Detroit to go after.
Oof.
You know what I mean? Because him and Cade would be nice.
If I'm a New Orleans fan, I hate that you said that. I would have been
I
like,
mean, I get it.
yeah.
I understand, but New Orleans has good and bad problems.
Yeah.
Obviously, the injury bug hit there. They're trying to figure out what Zion. CJ McCollum's been having some great games. DeJounte Murray is coming back having some good games. So Brandon Ingram, they still trying to find a home for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, as you look at it, they got their problems are kind of good and bad.
Right.
But you kind of got to pick and choose who you want to keep and who you want to trade away, and hopefully get some assets from it, or try to get like a good, decent pick for them.
Yeah, and speaking of guys that Paul George could take some notes from, Trey Murphy doing it on the court, also a pretty good podcaster, so he could do both of it. Paul,
yeah, best of both worlds. Jalen Green, we just spoke about him. 24.8 points, 5.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1 steal a game, shooting 46 from the field, 41 from 3, 83 from free throw. He is a new favorite for All-Star Reserve.
Oh, I love that. That's
Şengün.
Şengün in the back door.
Yes.
All right, so we're Jalen Green. I like that.
Houston got to get somebody to represent him.
Yeah, man. And Jalen's been tough this year too. Like he just feels like not angrier, but like playing with a chip on his shoulder a little bit. I'm sure everybody put him in trade conversations, and then he gets the new deal, and they're like, "Oh, this is like a safe deal that they're going to move later, whatever." I don't know, man. He's playing tough right now.
He's playing like he knows there's an air quality that's different. Every time I see a highlight, he's above in the air, just kind of, and he's playing faster than everybody.
Yeah.
You know, he attacked Ja, and I've never seen nobody attack Ja like that. Easy to the cup.
Yeah.
And explosive. He's had more dunks. He's had more up and under layups. He's making shots. He's confident out there. But again, that's credit to the Thompson twin, defending him in practice and preparing him for anything out there.
Yeah, I love it. I love Jalen. I was not really a fan of Jalen Green. I mean, I wasn't a hater of Jalen Green, but I wasn't like, oh, put him in the All-Star conversation. So to see that that's what we're getting from this season has been a lot of fun.
Central Division basketball has been insane.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine in 2025 is averaging 32.1 points per game, 5.9 rebounds, and 4.9 assists.
He's balling. I don't know what Chicago's going to do.
Chicago's trying to get to 500. I thought they were going to be on the bottom end. They're competing. They're playing hard. Kobe White, rest of those guys, Patrick Williams, etc. Vucevic, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you really think about all that. But Zach LaVine, most people were trying to, ship him off. He's a great trade piece right now. Obviously, still his contract is a little loaded. You know what I mean? But if you do take that gamble, that's another dark horse for Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fun one. I mean, I think Brad would have to say I would go to Chicago. I think to make that
Play
work
for Billy Donovan in Florida.
Oh, there we go. I like that. Look at that. Getting in the trade machine.
Hey, man, I don't want to trade nobody off, but at least a family reunion. Everybody loves it.
Everybody's happy about that. Yeah, this is. I think.
But also Zach, Katie, and Devin played at Team USA.
Oh, that would be a lot of points scored, man. That would be a lot of points scored. Do you think this is Zach's best year in the league?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. He's playing. I don't want to say winning basketball yet because he hasn't had too many winning seasons in Chicago. I think his winning moment was with Team USA.
Yeah,
but he's locked in.
He is,
and he's competing.
That team is so interesting too because I don't feel like I feel like they should be worse than they are, but then you look at their roster and it's like, no, they're not playing in a lot of. There's not a lot of spots where I'm like, oh, they need a massive upgrade there. Yeah, the Levine stuff's funny because he was like, everybody's like, oh, his contract is awful. There's no way you can trade it. And now it's like, I mean, if he's gonna do this and stay healthy.
But what's not like an awful contract for an all-star or someone that is a max guy?
Exactly.
Anybody you trade for, you're going to be paying big bucks over the time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's not like Zach LaVine's 35 years old.
Right.
Now. You know what I mean? Still young, still competes, had some injuries early on. He's available now. He's being a professional. He's not making any noise about wanting to be traded. If they move him, they move him.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you got to highlight him as one of the leading shooting guards of 2025.
Absolutely.
Have you heard Jello Ball's song?
I have.
What do you think about it?
I'm in. I love it. I'm glad. I think my main takeaway from the whole thing was Shams reporting about it. I thought that was wild.
Shams shows up in a lot of spaces. I don't know. We get breaking news that I wouldn't expect him to break.
Yeah, I almost thought it was like a parody account when it came out, and I was like, oh no, he's got the inside line on record deals now. So hey, I mean, always working.
Had to shout that out, and it's written by Lonzo Ball.
Oh, I did not know that.
Great assist from the big brother.
Oh man, that's what Lonzo does.
That's what
dimes.
Lonzo dimes. That's the dimes, man. All right, moving along. 30-second timer. Zion Williamson.
Okay, I wonder what it's like to be a teammate of Zion right now. This has to be frustrating as hell. Like, he misses all this time for an injury. Like, not because he wasn't supposed to, but misses all this time, comes out, throws this 360 dunk down, looks great. And we're like, Zion's back. This is good. We got healthy Zion. Looks like he's in pretty good shape. And then he gets suspended, and we learn for just one game, but because we learn he's just like not coming to practice on time, not showing up for team requirements on time. Like, man, I understand that the Pelicans are playing like some rough basketball. They've been very unlucky with all the injury stuff that's been happening. But good Lord, man, you are the face of the franchise. You are the reason fans are coming to games in New Orleans. You got to like give us a reason to still root for you at this point. I mean, it's a tough hang.
When he did get back on the floor, that 360 was pretty nice.
It was.
I did miss it. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
But when he's healthy, he is one of those players to watch. I did not love that step back three that he took because that was very uncharacteristic of him.
Yeah.
He hasn't been, if he has been working on it behind the scenes, I haven't seen any clips floating around.
They were down 3 in that moment.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I got this moment.
Yeah. He's got too many good shooters around him at that point to make that shot. But I understand he's the guy. We don't want to see you do step backs on it.
No.
I want to see you going through somebody's chest, getting to the line, finishing strong, doing what you do best. You're still young. And I want positive. I want him, honestly, I want a reset for him.
Yes.
I love New Orleans, but New Orleans might not be a good fit for him.
No, I mean, the way that his contract is designed too, if New Orleans decides they want to move off him, I think like teams will be interested in taking a shot at it.
You gotta take a gamble at him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he ended up in Brooklyn, that would be great.
I mean, we need a reason to go to some Brooklyn games, right now, because
hey, man,
it's tough. It's tough out there.
67 points last night.
Yeah, that was rough. I was out and I got home and I was like, oh, I'll check in the fourth quarter of this game, and I was like, no, I will not.
Hey, smart move. That's hoop sense right there. The Golden State Warriors. Now, I have been complaining about Steve Kerr all season. I don't understand it. Why are you saving Steph Curry?
For what?
Why are you saving him?
Yeah. Why? Like the minute restriction? Well, not restriction, but like he's not playing multiple games. Like, if it's not for a playoff run this year, is you like saving him for 2026? Like, what are we doing?
He has been hinting the end is near. Let that man play all the minutes he needs to play.
Yeah. I thought the comments coming out this past week were pretty alarming. Like, not alarming. It's one thing for the GM, Mike Dunleavy, or even Steve Kerr to be like, actually, I think it's wild Steve Kerr said it too. Even if they're right, I think it's wild to say, like, it'd be a disservice to this organization to trade picks, future picks, to make a move that's not really going to move the needle, which is correct.
Desperate trades or desperate, moves that deplete the future. Like, there is a responsibility on allowing or keeping the franchise when it, in a good space and good spot when it comes to where we leave this thing when we're done.
But I want everybody in that locker room being like, we got this.
Yeah.
We can do this. And for Steph to come out again, I mean, I guess if you're Joe Lacob, you're like, man, thank God we got Steph Curry, who's saying, don't trade our picks. But can you imagine other superstars saying that? Like, I would have imagined that if you were in that locker room, you're like, no, we have Steph Curry. We have arguably still like a top 10 guy in the league right now. We've got Draymond, who is still, when he's on the court, an elite defender out there. Why can't we get this done?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty tricky. I mean, when you really think about it, I do think that Steph deserves better.
Yeah.
But every superstar has to go through it. Kobe went through it. LeBron's going through it right now, despite all the moves. Like, they're not like a great team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shouts to the players that are playing, but like, it's not to a level that they're like leading, the NBA and resting, to a point where, hey, we can continue to do this thing. Like, no, they're in the bottom end of it where it's going to be a dogfight amongst those three.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing that they're all in the Western Conference.
It is wild.
But I don't know. I would love to see Steph Curry play more 40-minute games, allow him to play at the best of his ability, and then hopefully challenge his teammates to be better.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be like a middling team that like maybe gets into the play-in and you're not tanking, let Steph just score 35 a game. Let's enjoy it then. Also,
I mean, that one season was fun when he
just was going nuts every single game where they won. I think that was the year they ended up getting Wiseman at the end, right? Steve Kerr, can you play Moses Moody too? What can we do to get Moses Moody in the rotation?
I forgot about him already. We keep doing it, man. Hashtag play Moses.
Yeah, let's free Moses. Let's go.
Free Moses, man. Free Moses, man. Paul George, I mentioned him earlier. He made a quote, "To be honest, I am bored playing on a 5. It just doesn't do it enough for me."
Nick used you as the de facto 5 in one of the lineups in the fourth quarter, I guess. For you, what is that like when you're not used to playing that position?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. I'm used to scrapping and running around and chasing and fighting through screens, and, to be honest, I'm bored, playing and, on a 5. Just don't do enough for me.
As a basketball player, you cannot say that.
No.
We just shouted out Amin Thompson being available, staying ready, playing, guarding 1 through 5 for his team, doing whatever it takes to get the win. Paul George, respectfully, very successful financially, consecutive All-Star, was signed to the Philadelphia 76ers to be a second option, not a third option. Hasn't been the best. Had some injuries early on, but hasn't been the best for this team, has underachieved, and now he's saying that he's bored publicly. And it wasn't like in a humorous way. Like, it was kind of like, yo, sure, I want to guard people on the perimeter, and that's fine or whatnot, but like, when your team needs you, Joel Embiid's been dealing with injuries. Yabusele,
yeah.
hasn't been great as a backup.
Yeah, I mean, Yabusele as a backup has probably been fine, but when you don't have him, like, you want Yabusele playing thin. 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's just thin, though.
Yeah,
so, you know what I mean? And that's no dig at Yabusele.
No,
right?
no.
You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, when your front court is thin and Nick Nurse wants to try something different, you should be. At 6'10", come on, man.
Yeah.
You can guard most of these people, and it doesn't seem like, making these quotes, like, if I'm a Sixers fan, I would have grown so much to that comment. Like, dude, you're out here just basically spending our money, raising our cap for no reason.
Forget being a fan. If I was in the locker room, I'd be like, come on, man. Yeah. Like, you are the 76ers who, again, the worst luck in the world this season, but you were projected to be a top 4 team, and we are now almost at the halfway point. And you got like 15 wins. And I think only like 3 of them or 4 of them have come against like winning teams. Like, it has been just garbage from them. And so, like, you know what, even if you are bored, I mean, I feel like that's an inside
I wish
thought.
I could feel sorry for them, because Orlando Magic still, they have had just as bad as luck and have competed every game that they've been in.
The Dallas Mavericks, another team, have just been decimated by injuries. And we have a whole segment called Next Man Up. And if Paul George wanted to defend the 5 and try, then you'd be in the next man up. But instead, you're in 30-second timeout because you've just been a quote machine lately instead of like doing it on the court.
All right. It seems like we've been dunking on him, but this is a timeout. How does he fix this situation?
I mean, you just got to show it on the court. You got to lead by example. You got to like, if you got to feel like you want to be out there. And to his credit, he played really well last night against the Knicks in an overtime loss. It was like, you don't want to say a moral victory, but the Knicks are good. Although the Knicks are without Cat, so like, it should have been it should be a close matchup. But I think by doing it by example, and then I don't want to sound like the shut up and dribble. That's not what I mean. But maybe less like quotable things here so that, less memeified things that are happening.
That comes with the territory.
Yeah.
He's Paul George. He's going to say some stuff. He's going to do his podcast. There's no stopping that.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean? Like
I'm not saying stop the pod either.
But at the end of the day, we just want Paul George to be playing at a level that we have seen over time. And everybody can't be a LeBron.
No.
Everybody can't age gracefully into those older years.
Yeah.
And like I said, he's had some real injuries that have affected his play.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm still rooting for Paul George to be successful in Philly.
Absolutely. And for Philly, because Maxey's like one of my favorite players to watch play basketball. I want to see the joy that Tyrese Maxey has surrounded by talent. We need Embiid back out there, hopefully sometime soon. But tough being a Philly fan right now.
Can you tell Pat Riley, Jimmy Butler, and the Miami Heat to take us out of the group chat?
Yeah. It's crazy. I don't understand why we're talking about him that much. I mean, I know why we're talking, but like nationally, why Jimmy's not getting traded. Like it's not happening.
I don't think it.
It's not. There's no spot where it makes sense where for it to be like, you could trade me anywhere, and then the next day be like, but I won't go here, here, and here. Like, come on, man. And then Pat Riley's doing interviews about. We're talking about Miami too much.
Yeah,
we should be talking about Tyler Hero. That's who we should be talking about.
To be fair, that's a part of the game.
Sure.
Miami Heat, always in the mix, always worth the mention. They've been to the finals twice in 5 years because of Jimmy Butler.
Sure.
Jimmy Butler feels that he should be paid, but Jimmy Butler's also 35 years old. So whoever decides to pay him $50 million a year, that comes with the territory. Now, it's very ugly in public and the suspensions and things of that nature. I don't know. Does joy come with the big pay? Does he find his joy when the Brinks truck backs up?
I keep thinking of that Don Draper Mad Men meme. Like, that's what the money's for.
Yes.
And I mean, listen, we've all worked jobs where we didn't want to be there anymore. And yeah, I get wanting to get out of this situation. I think if this was the first time this happened with Jimmy, that I'd feel maybe differently.
Yeah.
And usually a more pro player. But at this point, I'm like, man, I don't, what do you want? Like, where are you going to go where you're going to get that money? So unless he's going to come out and say like, hey, I'm not going to pick up my $50 million option and we'll do like a smaller deal. I just want to play competitive winning basketball. Yeah. Sure. But I'm curious. And again, we won't really know because we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how many conversations happened behind the scenes before it got to this like public display of stuff,
Well, the positives that comes from this is Tyler Hero having an all-star level year. We've talked about that again.
Absolutely.
And then Kevin Love's Instagram account.
Oh, man. Shout out Kevin Love.
Love. Who knew you had that humor, bud?
Dude, Blake Griffin light. Like when Kevin Love's done, get him in some media situations. I'm here for it. Yeah, man, that Miami's a tough watch right now outside of Tyler here. Even Bam, where are you at, man?
Yeah, I mean, Bam had some quotes. He's saying like, we miss our leader, and he's missed in the locker room, and he just wants this thing to be over so they can get back to playing Miami Heat basketball. So hopefully, Miami Heat, you take the time out, you regroup on All-Star break, and then start playing some Miami Heat basketball and compete for that play-in spot.
You get that Heat culture going.
Get the Heat culture going. All right, player of the game, Domantas Sabonis.
Woo.
Last week, Kings go 3-0, average 22 points per game, 20.3 rebounds, 7.3 assists. This is his year to be All-Star.
Yeah. He's got it. I mean, he's their best player right now.
Think he's gonna get snubbed again?
I don't know. I mean, I think the recent stretch of play would get him in there. I do. I think so. But again, we did this last time, right? There's just so many talented bigs in the West between Jokic, Wemby, and then we talked about like somebody from Houston has to get in there.
I don't know if he gets in.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go. Although I've been, as we saw last week, just like wrong about my All-Star takes immediately. Shout out that LaMelo Ball conversation.
No, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve. He deserves a spot.
Yeah,
but there are only so many spots.
True. I think if he stays on this stretch for another 2 or 3 weeks, I think I'm going to say Sabone Bone. Let's get him in.
Okay. I'm with that. I'm not mad at it. I just think that, it gets to that point. Y'all know what time it is. I had to go get my boy back. Hold on. Let me shout outs to the hat. I'm going to sit that right there. But man, it is time for the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Oh, Orlando Magic.
Wow.
Man.
Theme song.
Had to put my jersey on. P5 is back, baby. He is back, and he came back with a great debut. 34, 7, 3, 3, and 1, 27 minutes.
That was crazy. Like, I live in the fantasy basketball streets, and I was like, oh, he's on a minute restriction. Like, you gotta chill with Paolo, give him a week or two to get back. And then he immediately comes out back-to-back performances and was just dominant.
Oh, that dunk, man. He made Paul George look so small.
He did.
It was great. It was great. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go P5.
Dude, we say this every single time we do the Magic Minute, man. When we get to the playoffs and they are a healthy squad and they had all these role players play bigger minutes.
Oh, don't get it twisted. Breaking news, not even breaking news. Franz Wagner, return to competition, reconditioning.
Okay.
Coming back.
Wow.
The best young duo in the NBA is almost back.
Man, and they're still going to be like a 4 seed. They're going to have survived. Paulo's played 7 games this season. That's it. Franz, again, missed a ton of time, and they're still going to be a 4 seed. Yep.
Silva, Goga. Like,
Goga went down. The other Wagner.
Like, you can go down the line, and all these guys have stepped up and been able to play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Again, as a Celtics fan, I want to play Orlando as far down
even
in the playoffs
Queen
as possible.
has stepped up and played.
Jalen Queen, that's right.
Like, listen.
Caleb Houston, let's go.
Caleb Houston. We could go down the line. I like this team. I don't want to trade nobody, but I would like Alonzo Ball. I would like a Colin Sexton.
Or maybe a KCP 3 to fall. Like, I think if KCP starts shooting the ball.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think he's just dealing with some ailments, you know what I mean, and things of that nature, and trying to get his body right. But he's been a great vet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love to see it and what's going on. But like,
Sexton would be a fun one. I didn't think about that. Like, just somebody come off the bench.
I didn't like that exchange he had with the young boy Collier.
Oh, Collier, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we would love him in Orlando.
Yeah.
Like, who will we give up? That's the only thing. And I'm so attached to these players right now that I don't want to put anybody in a trade machine. I just want our team to be fully healthy and competing in the Eastern Conference.
I think they should take notes from OKC and just like ride out this season. You don't need to make any crazy moves. Ride out this season, see what you get. And then if you need to make moves next season, you go for it. But I'm with you. The healthy Orlando is a scary Orlando.
Orlando Magic Nation, go vote for Paolo, Sky Blue. And on that note, this has been Hoop Sense.